Discipline isn't about waking up at 5 in the morning. It's not having a flawless calendar or following a plan to perfection. True discipline, relentless discipline, is something else entirely. It's walking in silence while everyone else sleeps in comfort. It's staying faithful to what you decided even after your motivation dies. It's being so committed to your purpose that the world, unable to understand, begins to call you crazy. We live in an anesthetized era, a world where the slightest discomfort makes us retreat. We've built shortcuts for everything, for pain, for waiting, for effort. And every time we run away, we give up a layer of our strength. The problem isn't that we're weak, it's that we avoid everything that could make us strong. Musashi understood this long before any of us. The greatest warrior in Japanese history wasn't just a duelist. He was a master of presence, of constancy, of the invisible discipline that molds the spirit. Today, you'll discover why anyone who chooses to live with extreme discipline will inevitably be seen as insane, and why that may be exactly what you need. We live trapped inside our own heads. The undisciplined mind is like a house without doors. Everything gets in, everything knocks us down. Random thoughts become orders. Emotions become absolute truths, and will bend with the mood. The deepest pain isn't failing to achieve. It's never being able to persist. Every new beginning dies at the first obstacle. Musashi knew this. Before he won duels, he conquered distraction. While others trained with swords, he trained with silence. The real fight wasn't against the enemy in front of him, but against the instability within. A mind that doesn't obey itself will always be a servant of its surroundings. Here's the shift. You're not weak, you're fragmented. Lack of discipline isn't a moral failure. It's structural. Your mind has been molded by modern chaos. Instant pleasure, avoidance of effort, the illusion of control. But discipline isn't control. It's surrender to the essential. Musashi teaches us the mind must be sharpened like the blade. That starts with small rituals. Wake up on time. Stay silent. Deny an impulse. Each gesture is a honing stroke. Each conscious choice is a cut into the chains of distraction. Inside, it's that voice that whispers, "Not today. You're tired. You deserve a break." It doesn't yell, it persuades. And it persuades well. Musashi was relentless because he was strong. He was relentless because he didn't negotiate with that voice. While many gave up on the inside and blamed the world outside, he silenced his own internal saboteurs. He knew that the first blow in any battle lands in the mind. The truth is harsh. The man who gives in too often to comfort eventually becomes a slave to his own softness. The inner enemy is cozy, soothing, agreeable. And that's exactly what makes it deadly. It gives you what you want, slowly stealing who you could have become. Want to start winning that war? Do the opposite of what the voice suggests. It says wait, act. It says later, now. It says you can't, try. Every confrontation, one starves that enemy just a little more. You don't need to destroy it. Just keep it too weak to stop you. We talk too much. We think out loud. We react to everything. Excess noise is a symptom of an undisciplined mind. And in that noise, we lose ourselves. Silence isn't the absence of sound. It's total presence. A silent mind is a sharpened blade. It cuts through illusion and slices distractions like wet paper. Musashi treated silence as an art. He meditated, practiced calligraphy, breathed, not out of mysticism, but as discipline. Silence was his hidden dojo, where his presence became absolute. The warrior who masters silence masters himself. And one who masters himself will never again be mastered by anything or anyone. Here's the shift. Silence isn't passivity. It's invisible action. It's internal training. It's mental resistance. In silence, you discover whether you can endure your own presence, and that's the root of true discipline. He who runs from himself runs from strength. Practice silence like wielding a sword. Wake up and spend 3 minutes in silence before touching your phone. Walk without music. Eat in full awareness. Cut the voluntary noise. Soon you'll realize, when honored, silence begins to train you. We live in an era designed to spare us effort. If it's hot, we turn on the air. If there's silence, we fill it with noise. If there's discomfort, we open an app. And each of these small conveniences quietly strips away a layer of our resilience. We are surrounded by comfort, but hollowed out of strength. Musashi lived the opposite. He chose the hard path. He left behind homes, teachers, and structure, slept on dirt floors, fought in forests, ate whatever he found. It wasn't misery, it was training. Every pain endured became invisible armor. Every discomfort accepted was an inner muscle forged. Here's the truth. Modern life weakens not because it offers comfort, but because it teaches us to flee friction. And without friction, there's no shaping. Without pressure, no diamonds. Without fire, no steel. Strength demands resistance. Start applying this consciously. Choose the harder path when possible. Take the stairs. Walk instead of driving. Face the cold without a coat for a few minutes. Train your resistance instead of seeking relief. Musashi would. The undisciplined mind believes discipline lives only in grand efforts, long runs, heavy lifts, hours of practice. But the true warrior knows. It's in the small, invisible gestures that the soul is tempered. How you rise from a chair, how you hold a cup, the stillness with which you listen. Musashi turned everything into training, from the way he walked to the way he wrote. Each brushstroke was a spiritual cut. Every daily act became a martial art of awareness. The blade that won his battles was born in the precision of what others dismissed as minor. The mistake is waiting for big battles to train. But the true warrior doesn't train for war. He lives in training, because he knows every moment is a battlefield. Waiting for heroic moments is wasting the ground you already stand on. Begin paying attention. Walk with presence. Eat in silence. Speak only when needed. Breathe intentionally. Make repetition sacred. Make simplicity powerful. Don't seek glory, seek precision. That's how you build a discipline so powerful. The world will call it madness. Discipline doesn't arise from motivation. It's born from decision. And that decision is almost always uncomfortable. It demands that you say yes to pain, effort, and delayed rewards. It requires choosing consciously everything others avoid, the very discomfort that transforms you. Musashi understood that every comfortable day was a day unlived. He didn't seek pleasure, he sought friction. He knew discomfort was the molten metal where his mind would be shaped. His strength didn't come from his sword. It came from the cold forest, the hunger he endured, the solitude he embraced. Here's the shift. Discomfort isn't the enemy, it's the gateway. Avoiding it is rejecting your own growth. Relentless discipline begins when you face what hurts and step into it anyway, when your body begs to stop and you keep going, when everything inside you screams run and you remain. Choose daily discomforts, the tasks you usually avoid, the silences you usually break, the actions that require strength when no one's watching. These are the small victories that build a soul others will call insane, because they have no idea what it costs to become unbreakable. Those who walk with extreme discipline will inevitably be called mad. Modern society cannot tolerate what it does not understand, and quiet constancy is one of its greatest mysteries. Musashi was seen as obsessive. He trained while others rested. He vanished while others craved attention. He lived as if every day were the last. Always. Relentless discipline offends because it exposes the indiscipline of others. It's an uncomfortable mirror. The man who stays silent amid chaos disturbs more than 1,000 loud voices. The one who chooses discomfort when comfort is available appears unhinged, but only appears. The truth is this: what the world calls madness is often just courage. The courage to be faithful to what no one sees. The courage to pay the price without applause. The courage to stay invisible while everyone fights for attention. And in that disciplined anonymity, real freedom is born. Keep going even when misunderstood. Keep going even when laughed at. Keep going even when labeled as extreme. The madmen of today are the masters of tomorrow, and the discipline of today are the unshakable of the future. In martial tradition, there's an ancient progression. Shu, ha, ri. Shu, obey. Follow the forms. Imitate. Be humble. Ha, break. Question. Discover the principles behind the form. Re, transcend, become the way. Merge with discipline. Stop acting, start being. Musashi went through every stage. At first, he copied. Then he broke styles. In the end, he lived in a cave, writing and meditating in silence. He wasn't just a warrior, he was the war. He no longer carried a sword. He had become the blade. Every move was pure Budo. Life is the way. The mistake many make is wanting to start at Ri without having lived Shu. They want transcendence without repetition, genius without foundation, freedom without obedience. But who dishonors the basics builds castles in sand. Form shapes spirit. Choose one action, one ritual, one practice. Do it daily until it becomes you. Don't run from repetition. It doesn't kill the soul, it awakens it. When your walk becomes discipline, your silence becomes a sword, and your presence becomes a temple, then you'll know Ri has arrived. Metals, it doesn't announce itself. But one day, you wake up and realize you're no longer the same. You no longer hesitate. You no longer break. You no longer need to prove anything. Musashi, at the end of his life, isolated himself in a cave. There he wrote, "See the distant as if it were near, and the near as if it were distant." He wasn't speaking of geography, but of consciousness. His awareness no longer reacted to urgency. His soul no longer danced to impulse. He had become fluid. Metamorphosis doesn't happen in one day. It happens in the 1,000 days you didn't quit, in the 100 moments you stayed, in the 5 minutes you endured when everything asked you to leave. Every choice is a new cell in the body of your future identity. You don't need to shout your strength. Just live like you already have it. When discipline stops being effort and becomes presence, the world may still call you mad, but you won't hear anymore, because your soul at last will be at peace. It all begins with a decision, not a vague promise, not a floating desire, but concrete, quiet, unshakable choice. The decision to never abandon yourself again, to no longer search for reasons to weaken, to live as someone who has already decided, not someone who is still considering. Musashi wasn't built from talent. He was built from decision. The decision to leave, to persist, to continue. The decision to silence, to train, to break patterns. Discipline is the name we give to a decision that does not dissolve with time. The trap of the modern mind is waiting for motivation before acting. But the warrior doesn't wait. He moves. And he moves until motivation becomes the consequence, not the condition. You won't be remembered for the times you felt like doing something, but for the times you acted even when you didn't. Decide now. A small act, but undeniable. A practice. A symbolic cut. A renunciation. A yes to your path. The size doesn't matter, only that it's real. Because that decision is what seals the way. Relentless discipline will never be understood. It makes people uncomfortable. It provokes. That's why it's called madness. But every master who is praised today was once ridiculed for following a path that the weak would never dare to take. What makes you strong isn't winning great battles. It's enduring small discomforts without breaking your fidelity to yourself. It's continuing without applause, without energy, without anyone. One day, you'll realize the entire world may doubt you. But if you don't doubt yourself, nothing can stop you. And when that day comes, you won't be someone who practices discipline. You will be disciplined.